What if the most pivotal pirate alliance of the new era was broken not by a Yonko, but by a whisper? Imagine you are trapped in the world of One Piece, possessing a terrible power that allows you to plant doubt like a poison seed in the minds of others. You are an unwilling pawn in the games of the Heavenly Yaksha, Donkik's Trafalgar Law, Doflamingo, and the fate of the Straw Hat Pirates rests on your conflicted loyalty. You have the power to turn Trafalgar Law, the cool and calculating surgeon, against his chaotic partner, Monkey D. Luffy, shattering their bond before it can change the world. Come with us and step into a timeline where your choices will echo across the seas. Your story begins now, in the gilded cage of Dressrosa. The air in the royal palace of Dressrosa is thick and cloying, heavy with the scent of expensive wine and unspoken threats. It suffocates you. You stand in the shadow of a marble column, your gaze fixed on the floor, trying to make yourself as small as possible. Before you, lounging on a grand sofa with an unsettling grin that never truly reaches his shaded eyes, is your master, Don Quixote Doflamingo, the Heavenly Yaksha, the king of this beautiful broken country. His laughter, a sharp and grating sound, echoes through the chamber. He is amused by the chaos the Straw Hat Pirates have brought to his shores, treating their arrival as a minor inconvenience, a fun new game. But you feel the simmering rage beneath the placid surface, a beast ready to tear its way out. You are his secret weapon, his ghost. When you first fell into this world, disoriented and terrified, you weren't found by heroes. You were found by the Don Quixote family, specifically by Baby 5. She saw your tears, your utter helplessness, and her desperate need to be needed kicked in. She took you in, hid you, and became the only anchor you have in this terrifying new reality. That kindness became your chain. Doflamingo learned of your existence and, more importantly, of your power. The power of the Sasa Sasa no Mi, the Whisper Whisper fruit. A subtle, insidious devil fruit that allows you to imbue your very breath with thoughts, planting them into the minds of others not as commands, but as their own insidious doubts. To Doflamingo, a master manipulator, you are the perfect tool. And he holds your leash tightly by keeping Baby 5 close, a constant, unspoken reminder of what you stand to lose. The stage is set, Doflamingo purrs, his voice a low thrum of sadistic pleasure. He gestures lazily towards a Den Den Mushi projecting the chaotic scenes from the port. Straw Hat Luffy and Trafalgar Law, an alliance of fools, one driven by childish impulse, the other by a pathetic, long-dead grudge. He turns his head slightly, and even though you can't see his eyes behind the sunglasses, you feel his gaze pierce you. An alliance is a bond of trust. And trust, he chuckles, is a fragile, fragile thing. He rises, his lanky frame unfolding with predatory grace. He walks towards you, his feathered pink coat sweeping the floor. Their plan is to destroy my smile factory, to challenge me, to challenge Kaido. They believe their bond will see them through. He stops just before you, looking down. The sheer difference in your heights is dizzying. You will break it for me. The command is simple. The execution is monstrous. Your heart hammers against your ribs. This isn't like whispering doubt into a greedy merchant's ear to secure a better deal for the family, or making a rowdy subordinate suddenly feel the need to stand down. This is changing the course of history. You've seen what Luffy and Law are capable of together. You know what their alliance means for the world. To shatter it is to hand victory to Doflamingo, to condemn this country and countless others to his tyranny. But then you see her, Baby 5, standing guard by the door, watching Doflamingo with absolute devotion. She catches your eye and gives you a small, encouraging smile. She thinks you are being given a great honor, a chance to prove your use to the young master. Her ignorance is a dagger in your gut. To defy him is to endanger her. You understand your mission, don't you? Doflamingo's voice is soft now, almost gentle, which is far more terrifying than his rage. Find the Surgeon of Death. He is the weak link. His mind is a fortress of cold logic and trauma. But every fortress has a crack. You will find it. Whisper to him. Remind him that men like Straw Hat don't make plans. They make messes. Remind him of what happens to those who follow reckless fools. Make him see Luffy not as a partner, but as a liability. You give a short, jerky nod, unable to find your voice. He smiles, a true, terrifying smile this time. Good. Go. Do not fail me. You turn and leave the throne room, your legs feeling like lead. As you pass Baby 5, she gives your arm a supportive squeeze. Do your best, she whispers brightly. The young master is counting on you. You can only nod again, the lie catching in your throat like bile. You move through the palace halls, a ghost in your own story, making your way to the streets of Dressrosa. The city is a vibrant tapestry of color and life, but all you see are the strings, the invisible threads of control that Doflamingo holds over everyone, including you. You track the pirates from the rooftops. It's easy to follow the trail of destruction Luffy leaves in his wake. You find them near the Corrida Coliseum. Luffy is vibrating with excitement, Zoro is grinning with bloodlust, and Law looks exhausted. He is trying to herd cats in the middle of a hurricane. His entire demeanor screams frustration. This is your chance. You follow him as he separates from the main group, needing a moment to strategize, to think. He finds a quiet alley, leaning against a wall and pinching the bridge of his nose. His mind is on Doflamingo, on his 17-year quest for revenge, on the memory of the man who died to give him his freedom. Corazon. He is vulnerable. You slip into the shadows on the opposite side of the alley, your heart pounding a frantic rhythm. You can do this. You have to. For Baby 5. You take a slow, deep breath, focusing your will, dredging up the most corrosive thoughts you can imagine. You purse your lips, and a soft, almost inaudible breath of air drifts across the alley. It carries a single, venomous thought, crafted to sound like Law's own internal monologue. He's not a strategist. He's a natural disaster. He will ruin everything, just like you knew he would. Your plan is too important for a fool like him. Trafalgar Law freezes. His head snaps up slightly. He glances around, his sharp eyes scanning the shadows. He sees nothing. He shakes his head as if to clear it. A flicker of something dark crosses his face, a momentary tightening of his jaw, a narrowing of his gaze as he looks in the direction Luffy ran off. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, but you saw it. The poison has been delivered. The seed is planted. Retreating back into the darkness, you feel no triumph, only a cold, spreading dread. You have just thrown the first stone in an avalanche that will bury them all. Days bleed into a tense, nerve-shredding rhythm of shadowing and listening. You are a phantom haunting the edges of the Straw Hat Heart Pirate Alliance, your presence a cold spot in the warm Dressrosa air. From your vantage point on the sun-drenched rooftops, you watch the pieces of Doflamingo's game move across the board. The effects of your first whisper are not explosive. They are subtle, like a fever slowly taking hold. You see it in the way Law's shoulders are perpetually tense whenever Luffy is near. You hear it in the clipped, impatient tone he uses, a stark contrast to the begrudging but steady partnership they once had. He's second-guessing everything. When Luffy decides to enter the Coliseum tournament on a whim to win Ace's Devil Fruit, Law's reaction isn't just annoyance. It's a deep, resonant frustration that you helped plant. You see him arguing with Robin, his voice low and tight, his gestures sharp. He is trying to salvage his meticulous plan from the whirlwind of chaos that is Straw Hat Luffy, and the doubt you instilled now colors his every decision. Your mission requires you to stay close, to find another opening to deepen the fracture. This leads you to follow the second team, the group tasked with meeting the Tontada tribe and preparing the main assault on the underground factory. This is Usopp's group. You trail them through the bustling market streets, the cacophony of vendors and citizens a perfect cover for your silent pursuit. You're so focused on Frankie's boisterous walk and Robin's quiet grace that you don't notice the third member has peeled off, seeking a less conspicuous route. You turn a sharp corner into a narrow, shaded alleyway and collide with something, or someone, with a startled yelp. You both stumble backward. It's him. The long-nosed sniper of the Straw Hats, Usopp. Panic, cold, and absolute, seizes you. His eyes are wide with shock, a comical expression that would be funny in any other circumstance. He is just as scared as you are. His mind races and the instincts of a world-class coward take over. He strikes a dramatic, trembling pose, pointing a shaky finger at you. Ha! You found me. I am the great Captain Usopp, here on a top-secret mission to overthrow the evil king. My 80 million followers are just around the corner, ready to attack at my signal, so you'd best not try anything funny. His voice cracks on the last word, and you can see the sweat beading on his forehead. You are frozen, a deer in the sights of a very, very frightened sniper. You are an agent of the Don Quixote family. You are the enemy. He should be attacking you or running or screaming for help. He does none of those things. Instead, after a moment of tense silence, his bravado deflates like a punctured balloon. He sees the sheer terror in your eyes, the way you're clutching your arms as if to hold yourself together. He mistakes your guilt for fear of the Doflamingo pirates. His expression softens from comical fear to something else, something much more dangerous to your mission. Empathy. Hey, are you okay? He asks, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. You look scared. It's the Don Quixote goons, isn't it? They're everywhere. You gotta be careful. He leans in, a self-proclaimed expert on the art of survival. The trick is to look like you know where you're going. Walk with purpose. Even if you're just walking back and forth, purpose is key. His kindness is a physical blow. It's so simple, so genuine. He's one of your targets, a cog in the machine you are trying to break, and he is offering you advice and comfort. In that moment, a desperate, traitorous urge rises in you. The urge to confess, to tell him everything. About your power, about Baby 5, about Doflamingo's plan. To warn him. The words form on your tongue, a silent plea for absolution. But you remember the image of Doflamingo's cruel smile, the unspoken threat to Baby 5's life. Your loyalty isn't to a grand cause of good versus evil. It's to one person. The choice is agonizing, but it was made for you long ago. You can't tell him. You have to get away. He's still looking at you, a concerned frown on his face. You should really get off these main streets. Find a safe place to hide until this all blows over. He is making it impossible to leave without raising suspicion. You have to use your power. The thought makes you sick. This isn't a cold, calculated strike against an enemy. This is a violation of someone trying to help you. Desperation overrides your guilt. You look him in the eyes, your own filled with a convincing panic, and you take a short, sharp breath, exhaling a tiny, invisible wisp of thought. It's not a command, just a feeling, a sudden, prickling intuition. This alley feels wrong, a bad premonition. The other way is safer. Trust your gut. Usopp blinks. He straightens up, a strange look on his face. He glances down the alley you came from, then back the other way. He puts a hand to his chin, a thoughtful expression replacing his concern. You know what? He says, his voice filled with a newfound certainty. My legendary survival instincts are tingling. Something tells me this route is a trap. A classic pincer move. I'll take the long way around. Thanks for the, silent warning. He gives you a clumsy thumbs up and a grin. You've got good instincts too. Stay safe. And with that, he turns and scurries off in the other direction, completely convinced the decision was his own. You are left alone in the alley, trembling. The ease with which you twisted his kindness against him leaves a foul taste in your mouth. You feel dirtier than you ever have before. Shaking, you force yourself to move, clambering back up to the rooftops to resume your grim work. You locate Law again. He's briefing Robin and Usopp, who has now rejoined them, boasting of his incredible foresight in avoiding a certain ambush. But the briefing is different now. You are close enough to hear fragments of it. He's creating a new layer in his strategy. He details the plan for the Tontada dwarves to knock out Sugar, but he gives Robin and Usopp a separate rally point from the one the other Straw Hats know, a fallback position that doesn't include or rely on Luffy's group. He's insulating the core of his operation from his main ally. The doubt you planted has metastasized into active contingency planning. He is building a wall within the alliance, brick by brick. You watch as the two groups split, Frankie heading for the House of Toys, while Robin and Usopp head towards Green Bit to cross the bridge. They move in different directions, a physical manifestation of the rift you have engineered. The cracks are no longer just visible. They are widening with every step they take. The wind whips across the northern coast of Dressrosa, carrying the scent of salt and the distant guttural roars of the fighting fish. Below you, spanning the churning, monster-infested waters, is the Great Iron Bridge to Green Bit. It's a rusted skeletal structure, groaning under the strain of the waves and wind, a testament to a forgotten age. This is your stage. Hidden amongst the rocky cliffs of the shoreline, you watch through a pair of high-powered binoculars as Trafalgar Law's group makes their way to the crossing. Robin and Usopp are with him, their expressions grim. They're walking into the heart of enemy territory, and the tension is a palpable thing. From your position, you are a god in the rafters of a theater, watching a tragedy you wrote yourself. The memory of Usopp's kind, worried face is a fresh wound. Every time you close your eyes, you see his clumsy thumbs up. You hear his genuine advice. You used that kindness, twisted it, and sent him on his way. That guilt is a fire in your veins, but Doflamingo's mandate is a winter storm that threatens to extinguish it. You think of Baby Five's trusting smile. You are caught between two impossible loyalties. This conflict within you, this maelstrom of guilt and desperate resolve, fuels your power. It makes your whispers sharper, more potent, more cruel. You know this next one has to be the most vicious yet. It has to sever the tendon, not just strain the muscle. You watch Law. He stands at the edge of the bridge, staring across at the lush, primal jungle of Green Bit. He's preparing himself. You can see the weight of his 17-year quest pressing down on him. His entire life has been a carefully constructed path leading to one singular moment, Doflamingo's death. He cannot, will not, allow anything to jeopardize that. And you know his greatest trauma, his deepest fear. You know the story of Rocinante, Don Quixote Corazon, a kind, clumsy man who put his faith in a child's fate and died for it. You focus your will, pouring all of your self-loathing and desperate fear into a single, needle-sharp thought. You raise the binoculars to your eyes, focusing on Law until he's all you can see. You breathe out. The whisper flies across the chasm, silent and invisible, a ghost of a breath that carries the weight of damnation. Corazon believed in a miracle. He believed in the D, and it cost him his life. You are making the same mistake. Straw Hat's recklessness isn't freedom, it's a death sentence. He doesn't care about your revenge. He will stumble into Doflamingo's grasp, and your 17 years of pain will be for nothing. He will make Corazon's sacrifice meaningless. Through the lenses, you see Law flinch as if struck. His hand instinctively goes to his chest. His knuckles are white where he grips the hilt of his cursed sword, Kikoku. The carefully constructed walls of his composure begin to crumble, eroded from the inside out by your poison. The doubt is no longer a seed. It's a thorny vine, wrapping itself around his heart. Robin says something to him, her voice lost to the wind, but he doesn't seem to hear. He takes a step onto the bridge, his movements stiff, robotic. You watch them cross, three small figures against a backdrop of imminent doom. On the other side, emerging from the jungle, is Luffy's group. They have Caesar Clown in tow, the gassed-out scientist looking miserable. This should be a moment of success, the reunion of the Alliance before their next big move. It will be an execution instead. Luffy waves a wide, carefree grin on his face. Law, Usopp, Robin, you made it! But the cheerful greeting dies in the air. Law doesn't stop in the middle of the bridge as planned. He stalks all the way across, his face a thunderous mask. Usopp and Robin halt behind him, sensing the sudden, terrifying shift in the atmosphere. Trafalgar, Zoro says, his voice low and suspicious. His hand never strays far from his own swords. He senses intent, and the intent rolling off Law is hostile. Law stops a few feet from Luffy, his shadow falling over the smaller captain. He ignores Caesar completely. His focus is entirely on Luffy. Straw Hat, Law's voice is lethally calm. We need to address the terms of this alliance. Luffy blinks, confused. Terms? What are you talking about? We're gonna kick Doffy's butt, right? That's the deal. That simple, earnest response seems to be the final straw. Law's carefully controlled facade shatters. That is the goal, he snarls, the words sharp enough to cut. The alliance is the method, and it is failing. Your impulsiveness, your complete lack of foresight, it is not an asset. It is a liability that will get us all killed. The Straw Hats are stunned into silence. Usopp looks like he's about to faint, clutching Robin's arm for support. This is 1,000 times worse than the bad feeling he had in the alley. This is their strongest ally turning on them. "Whoa, Law, what's this all about?" Sanji asks, stepping forward protectively. "Take it easy." Law's cold gaze sweeps over them. "I will not take it easy. Our enemy is a Shichibukai, a king with connections to the world nobles and a broker who controls the entire underworld. And you," he points a finger at Luffy, "ran off to join a gladiatorial tournament for a bauble. You are not treating this with the severity it requires. You are not a worthy partner for a war against a Yonko. Your heart is a lead weight in your chest. This is it. This is the moment of breaking. Watching from the cliffs, you feel a sickening lurch in your stomach. This is your doing. These words are yours, spoken with Law's voice." Luffy's smile is gone, replaced by a deep, confused frown. He doesn't understand strategy or subtlety, but he understands friendship. He understands trust, and he can feel it being revoked. "What are you saying, Torao?" he asks, his voice dangerously quiet. Law draws his sword, not to attack, but to gesture, emphasizing his declaration. "I am saying the alliance as we knew it is over. I will see this through because I must. I will destroy the factory and I will kill Doflamingo. But I will no longer entrust any critical part of my plan to your care. From this moment on, we are not partners. We are two separate forces with a temporarily shared objective. Do not get in my way." The air crackles. The two captains stare each other down across the rusted metal of the bridge. The bond that was supposed to shake the foundations of the world now lies in pieces between them. There is no trust left, only suspicion and the cold, hard logic of a man you have forced to relive his worst trauma. From your perch on the cliffside, a wave of dizziness washes over you. Horror and a twisted, unwanted sense of success war within you. You did it. You broke them. You are back at the palace, but not as a ghost in the halls. You stand on the high plateau, a few paces behind Doflamingo's throne. You are a showpiece, a living symbol of his victory before the final battle has even begun. The air is electric with tension. Below, in the city, Operation SOP has succeeded through sheer, dumb luck and Usopp's frantic efforts. But the fractured command structure of the Alliance made it a chaotic, bloody affair. The toys have been turned back into people, and Dressrosa is in turmoil. Now the main players are converging here, on this plateau. Doflamingo is radiating an aura of supreme, unassailable confidence. He leans back, one leg crossed over the other, the very picture of a king in his castle. He occasionally glances at you, his grin widening, and you feel less like an asset and more like a pet he's about to reward. The feeling makes your skin crawl. Then, they arrive. First Law, using his room to teleport onto the plateau with a grim-faced Robin and a pale, terrified Usopp. Minutes later, Luffy, Zoro, and the others ascend, their faces hard and determined. The two groups do not merge. They stand apart, a visible chasm of distrust between them. The air crackles with animosity. Doflamingo lets out a low, booming laugh. "Foo, foo, foo, foo! Well, well! Look what we have here! The mighty alliance poised to take my head! Tell me, Trafalgar Law!" He purrs, his voice dripping with mockery. "Which one of you is in charge of this rabble? It's hard to tell from up here. You seem to be having a disagreement." Law's face is stone, but you can see a muscle twitching in his jaw. Luffy steps forward, his eyes locked on Doflamingo, ignoring Law completely for the moment. "Doffy! I'm here to kick your ass!" he yells, his voice echoing across the plateau. He cracks his knuckles, preparing to launch himself forward. This is the moment. Doflamingo gives you a subtle, almost imperceptible nod. It's time to light the final fuse. It's time to turn this Cold War hot. Law is already moving, stepping into Luffy's path. He's not going to let Luffy's recklessness dictate the terms of his revenge. He is already on the brink. He just needs one final push. You focus all the despair, all the self-hatred, and all the agonizing pressure of your situation into one last, devastatingly intimate whisper. It's the cruelest one yet, designed not just to manipulate his logic, but to wound his soul. This is your one chance. your only chance. He is playing a game with the memory of the man who died for you. He sees your 17 years of pain as an adventure. He will not hesitate to sacrifice you for one of his friends. You are just a tool to him. Protect Corazon's legacy. Show him what true resolve looks like. Put him down. The whisper hits Law like a physical impact. The last vestiges of restraint in him evaporate. As Luffy prepares to use Gum Gum Rocket, Law's hand flashes. Room! A blue, translucent dome erupts outwards, enveloping a huge section of the plateau. Luffy, caught off guard by the activation, is pushed back. Torao! What are you doing? Luffy yells, utterly bewildered. Law's voice is devoid of all emotion, a terrifying, flat monotone. I will not allow you to interfere. Doflamingo is mine. You are a liability that must be managed. Before anyone can react, he flicks his wrist. Shambles. He swaps a loose piece of rubble with Luffy's position, momentarily disorienting him. Then he appears right in front of him, the flat of his blade pressed against Luffy's chest, pushing him back. Stand down, Straw Hat. That single condescending command is too much for Luffy. The confusion on his face hardens into hurt, and then into pure anger. This isn't a disagreement anymore. This is a betrayal. Get out of my way, Law, Luffy says, his voice low and dangerous. He's my enemy too. Then you should have thought of that before treating this war like a playground, Law retorts, his eyes blazing with a cold fire you ignited. The dam breaks. Luffy shoves the blade aside and throws a punch. Law ducks under it, his sword drawn. Steel clangs against rubber hardened with armament hockey. The fight has begun. The Straw Hats cry out in shock and horror. Luffy! Law, stop it! Chopper shrieks. Zoro holds out an arm, stopping Sanji from jumping in. No, this is between the captains now, he says, his face dark and grim. Doflamingo is roaring with laughter, clutching his sides as if watching the greatest comedy ever staged. Foo, 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 foo! Magnificent! Absolutely magnificent! They'll tear each other to pieces for me! He looks at you, his grin a nightmarish slash across his face. You've done well. Very well indeed. His praise feels like acid. Every sound of the battle is a hammer blow to your soul. You watch as Law uses his tactical genius against Luffy's raw power. He swaps places with debris, trying to land a clean strike with his sword. Luffy, enraged and hurt, fights back with a furious barrage of punches. It's a messy, agonizing brawl. It's not a duel of rivals. It's the violent, thrashing death of a friendship. You see Usopp on his knees, staring in disbelief, muttering, "This can't be happening." You see Robin's stoic facade crack, her eyes wide with alarm. You see the pain on Luffy's face, a deep, profound wound that has nothing to do with any physical injury Law could inflict. You did this. Your whispers, your fear, your choice. The victory you secured for Doflamingo is a mouthful of ash and shattered glass. You feel a profound, soul-crushing hollowness. You have protected Baby 5, but you have broken something beautiful and important in the world to do it. The two combatants are locked, Law's blade straining against Luffy's hockey-infused arm. They are so focused on each other, so consumed by the conflict you engineered, that they've forgotten the real monster. Doflamingo rises from his throne, his laughter subsiding into a malicious chuckle. He raises his hand, his fingers twitching. The opening act was superb, he says, his voice carrying over the din of the fight. But it's time for the main event. Invisible, razor-sharp strings begin to form in the air around him, coalescing into a deadly web aimed directly at the two distracted, feuding captains. They have no idea it's coming. You stand there, frozen in horror, watching as the man you served prepares to execute the two pirates you just forced into a collision course with fate. Time seems to slow to a crawl. Doflamingo's strings glisten in the sunlight, a web of imminent death spun for the two pirates who have forgotten their real enemy. Your heart is a stone in your chest. This is the culmination of your work. A neat, tidy victory for the king of Dressrosa. But as the chaos swells, Doflamingo's gaze sweeps across his own forces, ensuring his victory is absolute. His eyes fall upon Baby 5. She stands ready, weapons in hand, but her eyes flicker towards you for a split second, a flicker of confusion, of concern. It's a fatal hesitation in the eyes of a tyrant, Doflamingo's grin tightens. "No room for sentiment," he mutters, not to you, but to himself. A lesson he constantly reinforces. With an almost casual flick of his finger, he sends a single, sharp string whipping through the air. It's not aimed to kill, it's a warning shot. It slices through the fabric of Baby Five's sleeve and grazes the stone wall just beside her head, a clear and brutal message. You are a tool, nothing more. Everything stops. The sounds of the fight between Law and Luffy, the mad laughter of Doflamingo, the shouting of the pirates, it all fades into a dull roar. The entire foundation of your choices, the single desperate reason you damned yourself, was to protect her. And here is the man you served, threatening her with the same casual cruelty he shows his enemies. The hollowness in your chest erupts into a firestorm of pure, protective rage. Your victory is not just ash, it's a lie. You were never securing her safety. You were just decorating her cage. In that moment of searing clarity, you realize you haven't been serving a protector. You've been serving her future executioner. Across the plateau, someone else sees. Not the grand clash of captains, not the machinations of the king, but the tiny human details. Usopp. He's on his knees, yes, but his eyes, wide with terror, are sharp. He saw the string aimed at Baby Five. He sees the abject panic that shatters your cold composure. He connects it to the fear he saw in your eyes in the alley. He connects it to the sudden, inexplicable gut feeling that sent him down another path. He connects it to the way Law's personality twisted into something paranoid and cruel. He sees you, the puppet master, standing next to the king, and realizes with dawning horror that your strings are made of whispers. He doesn't see an enemy. He sees a fellow captive, someone forced to use terrible weapons for reasons they can't control. While Doflamingo's attention is still half focused on savoring the moment before he kills Law and Luffy, Usopp acts. He's too far to land a meaningful shot on the king, so he aims at you, not with a lead star or an explosive. He loads his black kabuto with a simple pellet, something harmless. He fires. The shot is perfect. It zips past Doflamingo's head and smacks the stone floor right behind your feet with a sharp crack. It's not an attack. It's a signal. I see you. Do it. That sound breaks your paralysis. You have a choice. A terrible split-second choice. Remain the loyal tool and watch the one person you care about live in fear, or sever the strings and face the wrath of a god. You choose Baby Five. You always choose Baby Five. You turn your back on Doflamingo. The rage and panic and desperation inside you become a weapon. Your power, once used for precise, subtle manipulation, is now a blunt instrument of chaos. You don't have time to be clever. You scream your whispers, raw and unfocused, at the Don Quixote family officers arrayed for battle. To Gladius, whose body is swelling, ready to detonate near a group of straw hats. Your blast will hit the young master's throne. He'll kill you for that arrogance. To the colossal stone officer Pika, maneuvering to crush Zoro. Gladius is trying to upstage you. He thinks you're slow and useless. To the rank-and-file soldiers preparing to charge. There's a traitor. They're selling us out to the Marines. It's one of us. It's crude. It's messy. But it works. Your power isn't about the logic of the whisper. It's about its emotional resonance. In the high-strung, paranoid hierarchy of the Don Quixote family, these seeds of distrust are wildfire. Gladius hesitates, his body deflating slightly as he glances back toward the throne. Pika, his high-pitched voice shrieking in rage, alters his path to bellow at Gladius instead of at Zoro. The soldiers falter, their charge breaking as they look suspiciously at one another. The perfect coordinated machine of the Don Quixote family grinds to a halt in a cacophony of confusion and infighting. Your betrayal disrupts everything. The vital support Doflamingo was counting on vanishes. His grand, killing web of strings falters as his attention is ripped away from his prey. He turns, his movements slow, deliberate, radiating a fury more intense than anything you have ever felt. The air grows cold. His head snaps towards you, the amused grin gone, replaced by a rictus of utter rage. "You!" he hisses, the single word carrying more venom than all your whispers combined. The puppet has not only cut its own strings, but has also tangled the strings of its master. You meet his gaze, your heart hammering with a terror that is, for the first time, liberating. You made your choice. You stand alone on the plateau, having thrown the world into chaos to save one person, and now, you face the wrath of the Heavenly Yaksha you have just defied. Doflamingo's incandescent rage is a terrifying sight, but it is also a fatal mistake. In turning his full, murderous attention to you, he gives his true enemies the one thing they need: an opening. The fight between Law and Luffy sputters out, replaced by the instinct for survival. They are no longer allies, but they are united by a common, immediate threat. The final battle for Dressrosa is not the coordinated assault it should have been. It's a desperate, brutal, and ugly brawl. While Luffy engages Doflamingo in a titanic struggle that shakes the very foundations of the palace, you and a now liberated Baby 5 fight back-to-back against the family you just betrayed. Law, fighting with a cold, isolated fury, cuts a path through the remaining officers, his goals now entirely his own. It is your chaos that gives Luffy the edge. The Donkakote officers, still reeling from your whispers of paranoia, are unable to effectively support their king. Their trust in each other is shattered. The critical assistance Doflamingo needed to counter Luffy's relentless Gear 4th assault never arrives. The final, earth-shattering blow of the Gum Gum King Kong gun still falls. Doflamingo is defeated, his reign of terror over. But the victory is muted, soured by the discord you sowed. It feels less like a triumph and more like the end of a long, bloody fever. In the quiet, dust-choked aftermath, as the citizens of Dressrosa begin to reclaim their kingdom and the Marines close in, you must face the consequences. You find Law near the edge of the ruined plateau, staring out at the sea. The phantom influence of your whispers is gone, but the memory of the thoughts you forced into his mind remains. He knows what you did. He turns as you approach, his silver eyes cold and hard as polished steel. There is no gratitude for your last-minute betrayal of Doflamingo. There is only judgment. The thoughts I had, the paranoia, the rage towards Straw Hat Ya. That was you, he states. It is not a question. You can only nod, the weight of your confession pressing down on you. I will never forgive you, he says, his voice flat and absolute. You did not just manipulate my strategy. You used the memory of the most important person in my life as a weapon against me. You violated my mind, my past, my very being. Whatever debt the Straw Hats may feel they owe you, it does not extend to me. Stay out of my sight. He turns and walks away without another word. The alliance between him and Luffy, a permanent casualty of your actions. The bridge you burned is now a bottomless chasm. A short while later, as you sit on a block of rubble with Baby 5 quietly tending to a cut on your arm, Usopp finds you. He doesn't look triumphant like the god he's been hailed as. He just looks tired. He sits down nearby, not too close, and for a long time, you both just watch the smoke rise from the city below. Finally, you tell him everything. You tell him about waking up in this world, about the fear, about Baby 5's kindness becoming your chain, about the Sasa Sasa no Mi, and the impossible choice Doflamingo gave you. You confess it all, the words tumbling out, raw and painful. He listens patiently. When you're finished, he sighs, a long, weary sound. I know what it's like, he says softly, surprising you. To be trapped by your own lies, to be so scared you do things you regret just to survive to the next day. He looks at you, his gaze unnervingly perceptive. I can't forgive you for what you did to Luffy and Law. That friendship, it was important. But I understand why you did it. And I saw you at the end. You chose to cut the strings. He stands up, brushing dust from his pants. What you do now, with your freedom, that's what matters. The Straw Hats are leaving. The whole crew is gathered at the port, ready to make their escape from Admiral Fujitora. You and Baby 5 watch from a distance. Luffy sees you. There is no smile on his face, no offer to join his crew. The trust was too broken, the wound too deep. But there isn't hatred in his eyes either, just a quiet, solemn acknowledgement. He gives you a single, slow nod before turning his back and boarding the Thousand Sunny. The gap between you and them is as wide as the ocean. Your path is not with them. You have changed the world of One Piece. You averted your own personal tragedy with Baby 5, but you severed a bond that was meant to topple emperors. You leave Dressrosa not as a hero or a villain, but as something in between. A penitent, free to walk your own path. Alongside the woman you fought for, you step into an uncertain future, forever defined by the echoes of your whispers. Thus, your story in Dressrosa concludes, a testament to the immense power of a single, pivotal choice. You saved your friend but fractured a legendary alliance, leaving scars on history that will never fade. What path of atonement would you walk in a world you so drastically altered? Let us know your story in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more journeys into the worlds you love.